All right. So, boys, let's chazer over a little bit and talk a little bit about what you learned and maybe develop this idea a little bit better together. Okay. So remember again, first source. What is the Torah talking about? First source. What is the Torah talking about? Anyone know? I'm sorry?
The traits of Esav.
The traits of Esav and Yaakov. Excellent. Good. So what were the traits of Yaakov and Esav? How does the Torah describe each of them?
Esav was a wild man who hunted.
Good.
And,
Yaakov. Good.
I almost said Esav. And Yaakov had to dwell in tents and learn.
Yaakov, excellent. Very well said. So, right, we've got Yaakov and Ish, right, two descriptors. Ish Tam, what's Tam mean? If I were to ask you, what does Tam mean? Without looking in English. What does Tam? I'm sorry? Say it again?
A reason.
Oh, what do you mean a reason?
Understood.
Oh, Tam. Good. Tam. Tes ayin men. Good. Excellent. Good. Tam. Tough men. Soft men. Simple. By the way, where else do you hear of Tam? Excellent. One of the Arbabanim, right? There's the Tam. He's the simple son. So Yaakov is referred to as a Tam, and Yoshev Olim, dwells in tents. By the way, what does it mean he dwells in tents? What does that mean? Learn Torah. Excellent. So Yaakov Avinu. Now, by the way, just as an aside, how do you reconcile Tam and Yoshev Olim? Do they sound like the same or opposites? Why? Good. Right? So in other words, it sounds like, if you think about it for just a second, right? So you've got your Yoshev Olim, and your Yoshev Olim, again, is like learning Torah. Tam sounds like a simpleton, right? Which sounds like somebody who doesn't learn Torah. So how do you reconcile Tam and Yoshev Olim? How would you reconcile that? How can you be both a Tam and a Yoshev Olim?
He sat in the tent doing nothing.
Sat in the tent doing nothing, okay. But then what? That is possible. Although it doesn't sound like much of a praise, right? Yaakov Avinu sitting in the tent. So how else would you reconcile sitting in a tent, Yoshev Olim, which sounds like Torah, and Tam, which sounds like simple? How do you reconcile that? I'm sorry? Oh, beautiful. It could very well be that he's someone who learned Torah, but was very modest. Excellent. What else? Any other thoughts? How do you reconcile it? Any other thoughts?
He learned what people would call simple, like Holiness and Mishnah.
Beautiful. Maybe it's referring to like the subject material that he learned, right? Maybe he didn't. Excellent. Good. What else? Let me ask you guys this question. If I were to ask you, what is the highest level of emunah that a person could possess? Highest level of emunah. Highest level. What do you think?
Knowing Hashem will take everything, take care of everything for you.
Beautiful. Knowing that Hashem will take care of everything for you. Excellent. Now, does that mean understanding everything that happens? No. It could very well be, sometimes we think that like the highest level of emunah or the highest level of anything is when you understand everything. It could very well be that it's just the opposite. Maybe the highest level is when I don't understand everything, but yet I recognize and I accept the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take care of me. So maybe that's what it means to be an Ishtam Yoshev Olim. On one hand, again, he's learning Torah, but he's not complex. He has what they call, you guys ever hear the expression Emunah Pshuta? I don't ever hear that phrase, Emunah Pshuta? Emunah Pshuta means simple faith. What does simple faith mean? How would you define simple faith?
Not questioning Hashem and believing that He'll do everything.
Right, beautiful. Just exactly like what it says. Simple faith. I believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu ultimately, again, is going to take care of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is going to do good, and that's it. Maybe that's it. Good. So that could be Yaakov Avinu. Even though he's sitting and learning Torah, but at the end of the day, Emunah Pshuta, simple faith. Good. Esav. Now, Esav has two descriptors also, right? Esav is Ish Yodei Tzayid, Ish Sadeh. Let's work backwards. Ish Sadeh, what does that mean? Man of the field. What does it mean, man of the field? So it could be, so in other words, here's a problem. Man of the field can't mean that he's a hunter. Why can't it mean that he's a hunter? Because you already said he's an Ish Sayed, right? So that's a hunter. Does it mean man of the field?
It means that he didn't learn Torah.
Oh, excellent. In other words, that whereas Yaakov Avinu is sitting in the Ohel, Esav is out in the field, not learning Torah. Excellent. What else could Sada represent?
He was very involved.
I'm sorry?
He was very involved.
Involved in what?
Like everything.
Good. Very involved in everything. In other words, all over the place. Beautiful. So we've got two sons, even though Yaakov and Esav are twins, Two very different kids. Good. So that's the first part of the pasuk, or first part of the section. Next part of the pasuk describes to us the relationship between the children and the parents. How would you describe the relationship between Yaakov and Esav and their parents? What's the relationship? What's the relationship between Yaakov and Esav and their parents? What do you think? I'll give you one. You don't have to guess. It's on the sheet. What's the relationship with Yaakov and Esav and their parents?
I think like favorites.
Good. So who was whose favorite?
One was like Yaakov.
Excellent.
And then Esav was born.
Good. Right? So the pasuk says, Vayeb Yitzchak is Esav kitzayid befiv. Yitzchak loved Esav kitzayid befiv. How would you translate kitzayid befiv? The literal translation over here is, what does it say? Because his game was in his mouth. All right, we'll have to see exactly what that means. V'Rivka heves es Yaakov. And Rivka loved Yaakov. So by the way, boys, just from the outset, what's bothersome about this pasuk? What's bothersome over here?
We don't have a reason for why Rivka loved Yaakov.
Excellent. Number one, we don't have a reason for why Rivka loves Yaakov. Good, excellent. Why else? What's bothersome about this?
That is my favorite.
Oh, favorites. Chavra, let me ask you this question: Is it good to play favorites in a family? Anyone ever have a situation where you felt like a parent was playing favorites? Right? Oh yeah. I think every kid has that moment where they feel that a sibling is being favored over them. And how do you feel when that happens? Right? Terrible. You're upset. You're annoyed. It feels unfair. And yet here the Torah tells us that parents are playing favorites. Rivka has a favorite, and his name is Yaakov. And Yitzchak has a favorite, and his name is Esav. So we have to ask ourselves, like, what does this mean? What does it mean that they had favorites? So again, I don't know how much you saw on the sheet, but Rashi deals with this, and the Medrash deals with this. And so again, many of the Mefarshim say, it doesn't mean that Yitzchak didn't love Yaakov, or that Rivka didn't love Esav. Guys, if I were to ask you this question, you ever hear the expression of like opposites attract? You ever hear that expression? Right? What does it mean opposites attract? I'm sorry? Magnets, right? So magnetic attraction is the best illustration of this. So some of the Mefarshim bring down the following idea. People are naturally attracted to people who are not like them, because if I find someone who's not like me, it helps to complement what I have. Like you find this a lot of times. You can find it in marriage, right? Sometimes people think like your goal is to marry someone who's just like you. Not necessarily. Sometimes you marry someone who's dafka not like you, because I have certain strengths, my wife has other strengths. Maybe my strengths could kind of balance out her weaknesses. Her strengths could balance out my weaknesses. So some of the Mefarshim bring down the following. Yitzchak and Rivka were drawn to opposites. So Yitzchak was drawn to Esav. Why do you think Yitzchak was drawn to Esav? Why were they opposites? I'm sorry? He didn't hunt. Yitzchak, remember, what was Yitzchak's physical state of being right at this? I'm sorry? He was old and blind. Right? Which means Yitzchak pretty much is a shut-in. Yitzchak can't go, he can go out, but he's not hunting. He's not like very active. So Yitzchak, when he sees Esav, what does he see? Not literally, but figuratively, when he sees Esav, what does he see? I'm sorry. First of all, excellent keyboard. I think we'll come back to that in just a second. Excellent. What else does he see? Right? Esav is like this guy, and he's strong, and he's out in the field, and he's hunting, and he's doing all this stuff. And it's incredible. And Yitzchak, these are all the things that Yitzchak can't do. When Rivka sees Yaakov, why is she drawn to him? Why does he become the favorite?
She can't learn.
I'm sorry?
She can't really learn.
So Yaakov could learn, right?
No,
But
she can't.
she can't. Interesting. That he's doing the things that she can't do. That's a beautiful and interesting idea. Excellent. Why else?
She married Yitzchak, who's like Yaakov.
So she married Yitzchak, who's like Yaakov. Beautiful. Very good. What else? What kind of home did Rivka grow up in? Idol worshipping, right? In other words, Rivka was surrounded by people like Esav. That's what she grew up with, right? This is what she was used to. This was Besuel. This was love. This is what she was used to growing up. Guys like Esav, who are shtickle violent, who are very aggressive. This is what she's used to. So for Rivka, the Chiddush was Yaakov. The Chiddush was Yaakov Avinu. That I could have a son who's a tzaddik. That in my home, it doesn't have to be all Esav. So you see, Yitzchak's drawn to like the qualities that he doesn't have. Esav is strong. Esav is confident. Esav is out in the field. And Rivka's drawn to the qualities that she never had before. And granted, she's married to Yitzchak now. But she didn't have a home in which there were tzaddikim, Tam, Yosef, all of them. So she's drawn to Yaakov. But here's the problem. The problem is, when you look at the Psukim, the Pasuk says, and really it's more, the fact that Rivka's drawn to Yaakov, that's not such a chiddush. That makes a lot of sense. But the fact that Yitzchak is drawn to Esav. So, leaving aside what we just explained, the opposites attract, how else do you explain this connection between Esav and Yaakov, or Yitzchak and Esav? How do you explain it? So one could be the Kibbut Aveim, right? That we know, again, you know the famous Rashi, that again, as bad as Esav was, he treated his father very well. And Yitzchak Avinu had tremendous hakaras hatov, tremendous gratitude for this, and therefore he was drawn to his son. But you notice the Pasuk says, remember, the Pasuk gives a reason for why Yitzchak loved Esav. Why did he love Esav? What does the Pasuk say? Why?
It was a game, man.
Right? Because ultimately, again, kitzayid befiv, which literally translated means that ultimately, again, he gave him food. He hunted for him, and he gave him food. He gave him food. Now, Bosa, let me ask you this question. Does that sound like a very deep reason to love someone?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
You ever? What? Who said yeah? Why?
I mean, that's what our parents do.
Right? Actually, it's very beautiful. Maybe that's like the most basic relationship between a child and a parent. Right? Although that's usually the parent who's giving the food. So here it's right. So here it's just the reverse. So when I say it's a natural reason. Let me ask you this question. Anyone here ever order pizza? Home delivery? Right? Guy from 12 Pizza brings you the pie. What are your feelings towards this individual who brings you the pizza? You love that guy, right? Now the truth is, you don't really love him. What do you love? Right. You love the pizza, correct. In other words, I don't care if this guy's, I don't know his name. You ever ask him his name? No. So you don't love him that much, right? If you really loved him, you would say, hey, let's hang out a little bit. You're the best guy in the world. But you don't. You love pizza, not the delivery guy, which makes sense. I love the food, but love dafka that I love the person who brings me the food. So what's the pshat when the pasuk says that Yitzchak loved Esav kitzai b'fiv? So this brings us to our last verse, where this is going to conclude. Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchev. Anyone ever heard of Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchev? He was a great tzaddik, one of the great Hasidic masters, lived in the late 1700s, mid 1700s. Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchev says like this. Get ready. Rabbi Yitzchak is bothered by this same general question, which is, how could it be that Yitzchak is just totally taken by Esav because Esav gives him food? So Esav goes in and brings him meat, and what? And Yitzchak ignores all the bad behavior? Yitzchak doesn't look at any of this. What's the pshat? It's very strange. So get ready for this. Yitzchak, so Rabbi Yitzchak says like this. Yitzchak Avinu, he knew exactly who Esav was. He knew that Esav was not behaving appropriately. He knew that Esav was not going in the derech that Yitzchak wanted him to go in. But Yitzchak Avinu saw that his son had so much potential. You see, guys, let me ask this question. Anger. Is anger a good midah or a bad midah? So she goes, good or bad? Okay, why bad? Because the Vilna Gaon says so. Good. Even before the Vilna Gaon says so beautifully, the Gemara says so, right? The Gemara Masechah Sota says, what? Incredible. Gemara Masechah Sota, Parsha Kivanta, Kalakois Kilu Oved Avodah Zarah. Excellent. Now, by the way, what's the connection between getting angry and worshiping Avodah Zarah?
You get angry, you blame Hashem for it.
Oh, beautiful. Good. Why else? Anyone here ever get angry to the point that you lost control? Right? End up getting ever get so angry that you say something that you regret and you can't believe you said it? Right? Or did something and you can't believe you did it? Yep. So what Gemara says that kol hakoes, literally again when you get angry you could lose control to the point that literally you find yourself worshiping Avodah Zarah. But let me ask you this question. Kas, anger, where does anger come from? Right? What trait does anger utilize? I'm sorry? Yetzer hara, good. Actually, come from sadness. Good. What else could it come from? Depression. Good. What? Stress. Good.
An
Outside factor. Right. Might not something internal. Good.
No love.
I'm sorry?
No love.
Beautiful. Incredible. No love. What else?
Anxiety.
All correct. But if you think about anger really is passion. right? When a person gets angry, they're getting worked up about something. They're getting passionate about something. Is passion good or bad?
Depends
It depends. What does it depend on?
how you use it.
How you use it. Passion used in the wrong way could become anger, and passion used in the right way could become what? I'm sorry? Determination. Excellent. What else could it become? Motivation. Excellent. What else? Achievement. Zrizos. It's all a question of how you channel it. Yitzchak sees Esav. And what does he see when he says Esav? He sees a young man who has what? Passion. So much intensity, so much energy, so much strength. Now, how is Esav using it all? How is he using it? Right? He's using it in all the wrong ways. Right? He's violent. He's aggressive. He's out in the field. He's making trouble in greater society. So the whole world says Esav is a Rasha. When Yitzchak sees Esav, he says, oh my gosh, my kid has ridiculous koach. Ridiculous koach, ridiculous energy, ridiculous passion. What's my job? Now, again, look how the Rabbi Levi Yitzchak reads the pasuk. He says, Yitzchak loved Esav. Yivayev Yitzchak is Esav. Why? Kitzayid b'fiv. So everybody translates as Kitzayid b'fiv, that Esav hunted and put meat in Yitzchak Avinu's mouth. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak says, that's not how to read it. Yitzchak loved Esav. Why? Kitzayid. Kitzayid means he saw that there was incredible potential trapped within Esav. It was there. The potential was there. The passion was there. It was just stuck inside. It was trapped inside of Esav and coming out in all the wrong ways. So how do you bring it out? Befiv. What does it mean, befiv? So Yitzchak Avinu says, if I just talk to my son, if I engage him, if we have conversations, if I commit, if I create relationship, then over time, the beautiful passion will get rechanneled in the right way. It's not that Yitzchak was blind to who his son was. He understood who his son was. But he also believed that deep down, if I could just keep a connection with him, I'll bless you. If I could keep a connection with him, I'll help him to rechannel those kochos in a better and positive way. Yitzchak loves Esav Kitzayid. He saw that there was Kedusha, passion trapped inside of him, and befiv, if you would talk with him, engage him, have a relationship with him, he could help Esav rechannel the energy. And boys, there are two tremendous lessons that come from this. And number one, there's a lesson in how we interact with people. There's sometimes we look at certain people and we write them off. We write them off. This kid's not going to become anything. This person's not going to do anything. And it's important to understand that sometimes people just have a lot of passion and a lot of energy and a lot of potential trapped inside of them. And if you keep a positive relationship, you can sometimes help them channel that in a more positive way. And deep down, also what it tells us about ourselves, that, all of us have things that we struggle with, right? Let me ask you this question. Anyone here ever do an Avera? Right? Let me ask you this question. When you went to do the Avera, did you shuffle slowly or did you run?
It's kind of like a normal walk.
Normal walk, okay. That's a fair answer. I will tell you, when I do Averas, I do them quickly. Right? In other words, it actually does take a lot of time. Mitzvos, sometimes I schlep along a little bit. But generally, Averas, like I think most of us who do Averas, there's an excitement. Right? I want to do something. It's pleasurable, it's nice, it's fun, it's this. So I run to do it. Now, what does that show me about myself if I run to do Averas? What does that show me about me? Right? There was some Midos Rose. Good. What else does it tell me? Passion. If I could run to do an Avera, right, with Rizos, then what does that tell me? That I have the ability to what? Run to do mitzvos. That just like Esav, right? Esav had all of this koach trapped inside of him. He just had to learn to channel it. Now, the tragedy of Esav is that he never quite learned how to channel it in the right way. But we have that same story as well. And there's so much kedusha, there's so much goodness, there's so much holiness that's trapped inside of us. And our avoda is to try to figure out how to channel it in the right direction. And to recognize that even when we fail, even when we commit averos, if I look at those averos, I'm like, I did that avera with a lot of zrizos, right? I did it very quickly. I did it with a lot of passion. The truth is, I feel bad about the avera, but I feel good that I possess that koach. And if I could just find a way to tap into that trapped koach, that trapped ability, and rechannel it in a different way, there is no telling what I can accomplish. Boys, I'm supposed to be able to learn with you tonight. I know what's the rest of the...
Sushi and pizza.
Sushi and pizza.
And ping pong.
Sushi, pizza, and ping pong.